I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work and are backed by science. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. We use only top-of-the-line formulations dosed for maximum results and the best flavoring systems available. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm Dave Palumbo, and with all that's going on in the world, all the negativity out there, today is going to be a very positive, really potent message that we're going to deliver to you guys out there and hopefully put you in a really good mood. And to join me today is a very special bodybuilder by the name of Scott Cook, who was getting ready to compete in a show back in 2009 when he collapsed in his garage and was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And I'm happy to say he's still here with us today, and he's doing real great, and he wants to tell his story. So Scott, welcome to the show.
Hi Dave, hello RXMuscle. Thank you for letting me be here.
Now,
amazing.
Right off the bat, I know you're Canadian because I know your accent. Which we're not going to hold against you by any chance.
Okay,
whatsoever.
no problem.
Yeah. Tell us your story, because you got a great story. Now we're going to do it in segments. I want people to understand the time frame. Back in 2009, had you competed yet, or were you getting ready for your first show? What was going on in your life in 2009?
In 2009, I had competed in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I was 22 in 2007. It was just my first show. I got third. I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was fun, and I got the bug, kind of got the itch. And then in 2009, me and my wife had just bought a house.
Right.
We got a cat. You know, I was actually getting ready to compete in just a local show. I wanted to maybe my dream was to become a pro bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I always wanted to do. So I was getting ready to compete in April of 2009 when all this happened.
So you're in your garage. What are you doing in your garage at that point in time?
I was just cleaning up my garage, just doing not too much, and my father-in-law came over, the garage door opened, I went to go say hi to him, and I collapsed and I fell. I was stuck in fetal position.
Wow.
I couldn't move.
Were you in pain?
I didn't feel any pain. I could not move my legs or my arms. I could speak, I could hear, I could see, I could understand what was going on, but I just couldn't move. I was frozen.
Wow.
So my father-in-law helped me into the house, and I got sick. I threw up, and he helped me. I just laid on the floor. My wife came home. We call it telehealth, which is a service in Canada.
Right.
They said get to the hospital. So I army crawled to the car, and my wife took me to a local hospital in Kitchener. She got a wheelchair, wheeled me in. After waiting for about 5 hours, I got back to the ER. Once I got back to the ER, they originally thought I had meningitis. So they're going to give me a spinal tap.
They thought you had meningitis, but they let you wait for 5 hours before they actually brought you back then.
Yeah, well, I was obviously getting ready for a show, so I was big and muscular, and I was taking stuff, so I told them that, so they kind of treated me like a drug addict.
Like you were a leper, yeah, there was something wrong.
It's his problem, kind of, where, you know. So I got back to the ER, and I told them my symptoms, so they're going to test me for meningitis.
Right.
And for some reason, the ER doctor decided to look in my eyes. He stared in my eyes, got another doctor to come stare in my eyes.
Right.
I didn't know what was going on. I thought I just had a torn trap or something, and it just caused me to be paralyzed, you know. So they sent me for a CAT scan, and the CAT scan revealed the plum-sized mass base of my brain.
Plum, like the size of a plum, that big.
Yeah,
That's pretty big.
You got it. It was as big as a plum. So I guess what happened was it started growing in my pituitary gland, and it grew around my brain stem, which I'm so lucky, and it engulfed my cerebellum and grew over a duct called your aqueduct. And that resulted in hydrocephalus, which is water on the brain, and that's why it collapsed, because I guess nothing would fire.
So you had no way for the brain to drain the fluids out of the brain, so it was backing up and it was putting pressure on areas in there that caused you to pass out, and that's probably what caused the nausea too, I assume.
Exactly. So I have a picture. I don't know if you can see it, but all the whites is the hydrocephalus, and my ventricles are huge, and they're supposed to be little slits.
Right. They're all swelled up with water. Exactly.
Yeah, it's filled up with water. Exactly. So they saw it through my eyes, sent for a CAT scan. The CAT scan revealed the plum-sized mass. There was the condition of.
What did they see in your eyes when they looked in your eyes?
They saw the tumor through my optic nerve.
Wow.
I guess
really?
I was pressing on my optic nerve. They saw a shadow of the tumor through my optic nerve, and that just sparked them to go send me for a CAT scan. And they saved my life pretty much.
That doctor was really sharp, huh? Who saw that? Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I was just so lucky that that doctor was on call at the ER that night and just had on a whim decided to look, and boom, they found it, you know.
Well, I mean, I think they probably would have eventually done a CAT scan on your brain anyway, because
exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
you obviously had something wrong with you. So when you find out that you have this tumor in your head, I mean, what's going through your head? I mean, that has to be. That's the diagnosis that no one wants to hear, you know.
Oh, for sure. I was pretty much treated like dead man walking. I was like, I didn't know what to expect, Dave. When I was afraid, for some reason, my fear response became positivity, and all I did was just like, I remember being taken in an ambulance to Hamilton right after my diagnosis.
Right.
And I was strapped into kind of like a crucifix bed.
Right.
And a chaplain came with me to give me my last rites, because they didn't know if I was going to make it to the hospital or make it through the night, kind of thing. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was that they gave me morphine at the time. I don't know. Yeah. But I just became positive, and I just became really thankful that they could help me. And that's all I can really remember. And then I remember being in Hamilton within 5 minutes. You know, Hamilton's about a 45-minute drive from where I live. And we were there in 5 minutes. They just screamed the whole way down the highway. And and I was operated on that night. It was an emergency operation. I had on call. My neurosurgeon was on call, and she was actually 5 months pregnant at the time. A woman named Paula Chlorofan, and she was 5 months pregnant at the time. And she operated on me the first operation. And it was, I guess, the tumor's in the middle of my brain. They had to blow my brain away with balloons to get up under at the tumor.
Oh wow!
They could only get 3% of it. But she was she had a mother's touch because she was pregnant. I don't know. She's just kind of like my angel, and she only got 3% of it. But she didn't
what percent? What percent she got of it?
3% of the tumor was only taken. That's all they could get. They didn't solve the hydrocephalus or anything. So I got zippered up, and I spent about a day in the OR or whatever it's called, the after operation or whatever. And,
recovery.
They watched me like a hawk, and like I said, the 3% didn't solve the hydrocephalus. So the following day, they put a shunt in my head. This is a VP shunt that goes down through my chest into my stomach, and that shunt acted like your aqueduct. It drained all the fluid off my brain. My hydrocephalus disappeared. So after that operation, that was my second brain operation in a weekend, and I was pretty messed up. But for some reason, because of bodybuilding, that gave me such strength, and I think because my central nervous system had been so strong because of bodybuilding, because of my life prior, that I was able to endure those two operations, and I was walking around the hospital. So they were like, wow, well, you're doing really well. We're going to go back in. We think we know where it is now. We've attacked it once. We're going to go back in and try and get more of it. I was like, okay, let's do this. So I went back to.
So wait a second. Let me stop you, Scott. So the first surgery seemed like it was more exploratory because they really didn't do very much, huh?
they did not take a 3% of it. It was just pretty much all exploratory. It was They were pretty much taking a biopsy as much as they could get for a biopsy.
Right. Was it cancerous?
Pardon?
Was it malignant?
It was non-malignant, but it was grade 2. So they think it had changed from malignant to not benign, but gone down. They think it was a tumor that grew in my head from when I was a child.
Wow.
I remember a story. I fell down the stairs as a child, and they think it was just brain stem. You've heard of like stem cells?
Yeah.
I think it was just a stem cell that went wrong, just kept reproducing and grew to the mass that it was. And then as it kept on going.
What a weird thing. Yeah. Sometimes they have these embryonic tumors that grow from like when you're, like you said, a child, because embryonically there's tissue there that's still reproducing. But
yeah.
So it wasn't cancerous, but it was getting in the way, obviously, and that was the problem. Yeah.
Exactly. It was choking me to death, pretty much, kind of thing. It was squeezing the life out of me, kind of thing.
So you go back in for surgery. This is the third surgery now. What do they do in this one?
So the third operation, they went back in to try and get more of it. They pushed longer and harder. They're only be able to get 30% more of the tumor. I guess because where it was located, it bled like crazy. And they thought originally it was extremely malignant because of how vascular it was.
Right.
But I think tumor usually is like you. So I was big and vascular, getting ready for a show all the time. So my tumor was big and vascular too, kind of thing. So because the third one they went in, they only got 30% more, bled like crazy. Right. They had to close me up. So they closed me up, and they only got 30% more. So I still had like 70% of the tumor left in my head. They were like, buddy, you're going to be here for a long time. Just be happy you're alive, kind of thing. And I was just like, I can't be here anymore. What do I have to do to go home? They're like, well, you're not going home. If you can climb that flight of stairs outside your room, you can go home. And somehow I got on my bed, I climbed that flight of stairs, and they let me go home. And Dave, they never should have, because the day after I got home, my shunt, I guess, was getting clogged day by day after my third operation. So I got hydrocephalus again. I collapsed again, and so my wife had to take me back to the same hospital in Kitchener. They didn't have a bed for me in Hamilton, so I had to wait for 3 days with a clogged shunt in Kitchener. And then I got a bed available in Hamilton. I went to Hamilton, had my shunt revised. They went back again. They put back in a new shunt. That worked, and it cleared the hydrocephalus once again. So they were like, we're not going to go back in for a fifth brain operation. After that fourth shunt operation, I was in a wheelchair, and I was really messed up from that one.
Why was that one? Why that one hit you so hard?
I don't really know. Maybe it's just because it was the fourth one in 6 weeks.
Right.
That it was just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't really know what it was, but or it was all the Decadron kind of started to catch up to me, and I just became really weak after that fourth operation.
Right.
And my family didn't want me to endure a fifth one, because they didn't want me to permanently be in a wheelchair, to permanently be disabled, kind of thing,
Right.
So they decided to do radiation therapy on me.
Okay.
So I got fitted for a radiation mask. My radiation mask is right here.
Oh, it can double as like one of these masks you go out to the supermarket with now. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I could use it for the corona, and I'd be okay. I wore it for Halloween a couple times, but so I got the mask fitted, and I went through 900 treatments of radiation, 30 days. It was over a course of 6 weeks because we had Easter in between there.
What does radiation feel like when you go for it?
It didn't feel like anything. I remember taking different pills for anxiety. It all only smelled like burnt hair. I didn't really feel much pain. This whole time I never really felt much pain, Dave. I felt, after the 4 brain operations, I felt like I was 6 feet away from everything. Like I was like 6 feet in a hole.
Why? Because you were like
6 feet away from me. I couldn't judge distance or.
Okay, gotcha. So you had some residual, obviously some stuff going on from the surgeries itself.
Oh, big time for sure. So after I went through all the radiation, like I said, the radiation was. My dad got actually fired from his job before I was diagnosed, and it was just a blessing because then he could take me to all my radiation treatments, and he would stand behind. I would get but he was standing in the lead room with the radiologist and count out the treatments. So, okay, you got 30 left, Scotty. 20 left, buddy. We're coming to get you. 5 left. One more. We're coming to get you, buddy. And that was just awesome that he could be there. And I think that's why I didn't experience much pain or much feeling of loneliness because of the support that he gave me.
Sure.
So that was a crazy time that I remember because I was on dexamethasone. I gained a whole bunch of weight. I went from 230 pounds of muscle to my 4 brain operations, losing it all, being 160 pounds of withered away. I had the long Jesus beard, and I just couldn't. I was like a skeleton almost.
Yeah, we'll
to
put those
going
pictures
through
up there.
radiation. Yeah, to going through radiation, being mobilized, and had taken all the drugs. I went back to 230 pounds. Like I'll go faster. So it was like when I had the mask on, that mask, I gained so much weight in my face, it would squish me, and all I could do was just drool as the treatments were happening, kind of thing, But a positive part about it, Dave, is that all the people were so nice to me. Like you said, my father was there. He made me Beatles and Bob Marley mix CDs to listen to while I was going through treatment.
Right.
And then after treatment, I remember he'd take me out to Boston Pizza or Swiss Hill and just take me out for dinner to celebrate another one done,
Right. How many treatments did you have to do?
I had 900 treatments. So
900 treatments?
900, yeah. Yeah, they shocked the heck out of me.
How long did that take? How many days did you go for?
30 days. So each session was
it's 30 treatments per session. I got you. Okay.
You got it. So
how long does the treatment take?
It depended on who was doing it. Some technicians could do it in half an hour. Some technicians could do it in 45 minutes.
Okay.
It all depended on who the technician. We had a one-fifth technician.
So it was 30 days of radiation for about an hour a day. I got you. Okay.
Yes.
Now let me ask you this question. From the bodybuilding, were you ever taking growth hormone at all during this whole your prep?
I never took growth hormone prior, or I haven't. No, I was taking testosterone and equipoise before I got sick, and they credit all, like, I remember so many every doctor I've kind of talked to has said that my big size and my strength was what saved me from.
Thank God you hadn't been taking GH. If you had been taking GH, that tumor may have grown really, really big.
Exactly. That's why I haven't touched it since.
Well, yeah, I don't blame you, but I'm saying so now they're doing these radiation treatments. After the treatments are over, how much has the tumor shrunk after the treatments?
So after the treatments, 0% of the tumor shrunk.
No way.
But as the months went on, so like I went through radiation in April and May, and by July I had an MRI, and it started to shrink then. And then again in September of that year, I had another MRI, and it was even smaller. And
is that how it works? Is that how radiation works, or is it just worked on you that way?
That's how it worked on me. They don't know. It was like, I don't want to say Dave was a miracle, but this is like, miracles happen all the time to us.
Yeah.
You just gotta focus on them. I could focus on, as if I get everything taken away from me, or I could focus on, holy, it's shrinking. This is a blessing,
Sure.
So, and then all of a sudden by 2010, I had a clear MRI. The tumor had disappeared and was gone. I just was destroyed and really puffy, and I couldn't move. I could barely walk. I would walk with my hand on my wife or my father's shoulder, and but I was like determined. I was gonna get back to the gym. I was gonna start training again, in spite of everything that happened to me. I had all the time in the world, Dave. I would sleep 18 hours a day. So
I'm sure that helped. That probably helped your recovery. I'm sure it did.
Well,
absolutely.
It definitely did. 100% it did. And I really started to use my time when I was awake with reading about nutrition and the bodybuilding before. It kind of gave me a little bit of knowledge of where to kind of go.
Right.
For nutrition, and I learned all about the important. Oh, geez, we could talk all about the nutrition that I've learned about what made me kind of get better. And I just slowly started practicing all those things. And then I ended up, in 2010, June 2010, I started driving a car again. And then over the summer of 2010, I started going back to the gym, just riding the bike. And then,
Right.
and that slowly, you know, and then that
And it felt
progressed.
great. I bet it felt great just doing something at the gym, right?
Oh, I felt that was what the blessing was, Dave,
Yeah.
is that I gratitude again, thankfulness, just for like going to the washroom. I was like, holy, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is
Yeah.
great, you know.
Yeah.
It's just so much better than a catheter, you know. It's
Oh
just,
yeah, I can't imagine.
yeah.
That.
So it was
So when did you get the urge to want to get back on stage? I mean, because you did it pretty quickly after this whole thing.
yeah. Well, so what happened, Dave, is that in 2011 I got back to the gym, and then my 18th month review with my neurosurgeons, I met them again. And I was driving a car. I was going back to the gym. I told them all these things, and they were like, "Scotty, hold on. You know, that was who you used to be. That's not but your future is going to hold for you now. You need to stop this. You need to relook at what you're doing. You're trying to do too much. You know, like, come on, you don't need to do this to yourself." But that was my dream, my vision, my passion. So that's when my dad actually started saving my life again. He started working out with me,
Right.
because to watch over me, to make sure I didn't do anything silly.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so he started going back to the gym with me, and then everything just kept progressing. And then in 2010, late 2010, 2011, we got news that my wife was pregnant, and we were gonna have a kid. So
Congratulations.
So that progressed, and then she had testing. She was gestational diabetes. She had gestational diabetes. So we had to take a bunch of insulin courses, and I started learning and reading about all of that. So we started testing her blood sugars every meal, and we controlled it, and she beat it. And because of that, we just kept rolling with it. And I learned the importance of water, just drinking water, and eating fiber, and all those things that come into play. And because of doing that, I ended up getting in such great shape. My son was born in August of 2011. And I ended up competing in a show in October in 2011,
Wow.
and I won.
Your wife's a saint.
I was still walking on my wife's shoulder, but yet I competed and won the show. The will, the human spirit can do anything. You know.
You won your class at the show, huh?
Yeah, I won my class in the show.
Wow.
There was 5 of us in the show. I didn't think I was ever gonna. It was my bucket list. It was something
Right.
on my list that once I did the show, I knew kind of I was back. You
So
know?
bodybuilding basically saved your life. That whole ability to suffer and endure, and because you knew that there was a greater purpose or a greater benefit if you threw that. So you essentially, I mean, that cancer treatments and all that you went through was really like a very long contest diet. I mean, because you might not have been suffering as much during that as most people suffer during a contest diet. I think probably the contest diet you did was harder. Right?
Well, that's true. That's what I'm saying, Dave. Like when I'm training now and it gets hard, I say to myself, you know, if cancer couldn't beat me, what else
Right.
is there?
Well.
You know, like, so it was an empowering thing. You can either let things make you bitter or better.
Right.
You know, so I think it made me better if I wouldn't have experienced all the trials and tribulations, all the unfairness, all the doubt, everything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the man I am today. Right. So things are happening to all of us to make us learn, not to make us whiny, you know. So it's really comes down to perspective and focus.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what bodybuilding gave me. It gave me a reason. It gave me a meaning. It gave me a vision. It gave me something to strive towards, even though everyone told me that I wouldn't become anything.
11 years now after this tumor thing happened, what's your medical status now? Are you completely considered cured?
I've been cancer-free tumor-free for 10 years now.
Okay.
I started, bi-monthly MRIs, and then it went to 6-month MRIs, and then the tumor was gone, and it was yearly. I've graduated now. It's been 10 years of clear MRIs, so I've graduated from that, and I just could feel more blessed. I couldn't feel more thankful.
The shunt will be there forever, is what you're telling me.
Shunt will be there forever. I'll probably throw up every day, every morning of my life.
You still throw up every morning because why? Because it gets backed up.
Just this morning I threw up. Yeah, I throw up. Usually I start my morning with I squeeze a lemon into a glass of water, and I drink that. And if I throw it up, I just do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I start my day.
Right.
But like you can start your day, you can think of the obligation of the day, or you can think of the opportunity, right?
Sure.
So getting sick like that makes me focus on the opportunity not the obligation.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's a wonderful story. It's great to finally hear a happy ending from a story. Recently, we've heard a lot of unhappy endings. And now I know you're on disability, but you're actually working at the YMCA helping kids work out and stuff like that, which is something I know you're passionate about. So you're getting to live, the life that you always wanted to. And I think that that's so awesome to be able to experience that.
Well, for sure. You can either live your dreams or live your fear. I mean,
Yeah.
you can live your fears or live your dreams, right? So my dream was always to give back. Bodybuilding saved my life twice, gave me a family, gave me a reason, a purpose. So the more I can share that with kids especially,
Yeah.
the greater I feel. It's what you give is what you get. That's what I tell my son every night. So the more I give to others, the more I get. And the fact that I can kind of be like Johnny Appleseed and plant seeds in kids, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So when they're 18 and they feel confident enough to take care of their health, they said, hey, I remember that brain cancer survivor telling me that at the YMCA when I was 14. I can do that. I know what to do,
Right.
And that's really, most people they're afraid of stepping forward and taking that last yard to touchdown,
Right.
But sometimes people just need a little help, a little push, and that's what I got. So if I can give that back, that's what I'm all about.
That's awesome. Well, I see all these big these pictures in the backdrop of your house there with all the top bodybuilders.
This is my gym, my basement gym.
Who's your favorite bodybuilder of all time? Who's the guy who inspires you the most?
I would have to say Ronnie Coleman.
Okay.
I'd have to say I used to love. What started my bodybuilding was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's cousin is James Cameron, the guy that made
Oh
Terminator.
wow! Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually so my mom's. I'm second cousins to James Cameron, so him and Arnold are big friends. So I knew of Arnold back in the '90s, and I wanted to always be a bodybuilder and look
Right.
like Arnold. I love that look. But I would say the guy when I got into it, Ronnie Coleman was just. I just love Ronnie Coleman. His work ethic, his everything about him just inspired me to everything about all bodybuilders. Kevin Levrone, yourself, everyone. Really, it's the whole bodybuilding lifestyle that I think it's more of a martial art than it is a sport. It takes mind, body, and soul, and it just prepares you for so much more in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love to hear great stories and inspirational stories. And Scott, you have a great one for sure. Good luck in the rest of your life and everything like that. Keep us updated if anything comes about. You decide to compete again, and keep passing on that story because it's a story of inspiration, and we need more of that in this world right now. And I think that it's going to help maybe pick people's spirits up a little bit and realize, hey, you know what? I don't have it that bad, and I can overcome anything at this point. If Scott can do it, I can do it. And
right.
I know I felt when I was listening to the story, I said to myself, I don't have any problems at all. I should be happy that I have the life I do, and look what you had to overcome to get where you are today. And so thank you for sharing that story with us.
No problem, Dave. Thank you for giving me the platform, and my message to everyone is to look at the positive side. If you trip on the sidewalk of life, look at the daisy growing out of this crack in the sidewalk. Don't focus on the crack.
There you go. Very wise words from a very wise man. I'm Dave Palumbo with another installment of Live With. Make sure you continue to subscribe and hit all the like buttons and all that great stuff on our channel so you can get more inspirational messages. We'll see you next time.